Everybody ready? We will call our Cleburne County Emergency Communications District meeting to order. We'll welcome our guest, Ethan. Good to have you. Roll call: Laura Cobb.
Here.
Emmett Owen. Terry Hendricks. Here. Roger Hill. Here. We have three. We do have a quorum. We had no one to ask to speak today. This time we have no official board members who need to speak. New business, approved minutes.
We don't have any minutes, so we just need to skip that.
No one else. Move on for lack of a motion. Reports from staff.
Okay, so I gave you all the July monthly report, and the month of July we did a lot of training, and I took a lot of training courses. We completed our 911 audit. It is done. We did CPR training for, I think it was 8 staff members, 3 certifications. Our brand new Zetron radio consoles have been installed, and they're up and running, and we did training on that. Let's see. And like I said, just personally on my CLIN certification, I had to catch up on several online courses that I took. So it was a month of training. We had several addresses we issued. So some important things that we're dealing with back in the back are, I spoke with, I believe it was Emmett last week, about our units, our AC units. Mitch came back up today. We had an issue over the weekend with some flooding on our units back in the back. Thank goodness they called it in time. Nothing was ruined, but regardless, he came up and fixed it, and he wanted me to pass along that one of our 5-ton units is not looking great. The compressor is going to have to be replaced. So he's thinking maybe approximately $3,000 to replace that unit. But I told Emmett that we're continually having problems with different units here. We've had issues with the JSU side. We've had issues on the halls. We've had issues downstairs, and we've had issues in 911. And all those are on separate units. They're not. It's not the same. So it's all on separate units.
Yeah, 3 days up here.
Wouldn't you have to if you got a generator? I think.
But if you buy one of those units for $3,000, it's not 3 days. And 3 days will last a lot longer because it's going to be more expensive. But
So that was just an approximate number, because I told him that I wanted to let you guys know that y'all were talking budget and we kind of wanted to have something. He said the courthouse, he just replaced it. It was 3,000 or 2,000, maybe 2,500 something. But so he said he was just approximating that the maximum would be 3,000.
That's just replacing the compressor.
Yes, it must be. So.
the compressor, not
It
the
is. But I asked him. We kind of went into the conversation of, because we're having to call him so much, and of course Emily Williams can tell you how many videos we have issued. Would it be best for the commission to consider having him come up quarterly and change, I don't know what you do with ACs, just to put your eyes on it, filters or whatever else needs to be maintained? Or
Why don't you get him to look at how old those units?
we talked about that. Yeah. So he said about 10 years old, and he said, well, it's about time they start kind of messing up.
I mean, we may.
I just-
Put some money in the budget and start rotating or something.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was, I don't know enough about it to know if it's just a maintenance thing that we could keep up on our maintenance and it prolongs the life of it, or I
I
don't
think
know.
it's over maintenance too.
Okay.
Yeah, you're charging out your filters and
The threads will do that.
yeah, that's what I was about to ask is, we already did a maintenance person to change out the filters and wash those out.
I think it'd be better off just let him and talk to your guy.
Okay.
The 3 of y'all get together and sort of come up with, we just need to start rotating them or
If I'm remembering correctly, it's been 5 different units that we've called for just in the past, what, 2 months?
Probably, we've had twice we've had water driven into our high room, which is bad. And luckily, both times they have not dripped over our piles, they just dripped in the floor. But one of them was just last week, which was here this morning. Our air on this side of the hall had been out for several days. Of last week, it was all frozen up, and we had to come back.
If the 911 crew wouldn't have called it, it was pouring like a faucet. It was, they had to put a trash can under it.
That's probably the drain stopped up, because it's got a pan under it, to check condensation.
So the pan was full.
He said it was upside down because of how our vents are ran, because of our hollow floor with all of our networking stuff in it. So that's what he said today. And he said, I said, well, what's been the major issues of the units? And he said they're freezing up and the sensor keeps failing out. So those are the 2 main issues of the ones that he's looked at. So.
Because in the compressor and that, and the fan, that's about all there is to it. I still think, let him sit down with you and your guy and come up with something. I know a little bit, but I don't know enough to make a decision on that.
And he did say that he has just been completely overwhelmed because of the summer. He does have the unit for the commo building. He does have that in. He was going to put us on the docket for this week to get that replaced up on the commo building. So. I think that's it.
Any other questions? Mr. Odom?
No question.
Okay. I don't think there's any old business, any discussion items? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. O'Gotcha.
Have my motion if they want it.
All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. All right, I am showing 5. We will call our commission court to order. We will welcome all our guests. Thank you all for coming. This time, roll call. Laura Kopp.
Here.
Emmett Owens. Not present. Terry Hendricks.
Here.
Roger Hill.
Here.
We do have a quorum. 3 commissioners. This time we'll pledge allegiance. Ms. Collins will lead us in prayer afterwards. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, thank you for having us here tonight. Father, I pray that you'll just lead and guide us to make godly decisions, Father. Father, I pray for our nation. I pray for our county. Father, just uplift us spiritually. Take everyone back home safely tonight. And be with those that have lost loved ones this hour of need, Father. In Jesus' name, amen.
We have Mr. Stephen Fine with the Extension Office. Speak with you.
Don't mind if you pass one around, please. Good evening, Commissioners. How are y'all doing? Good. I have here before you tonight is basically our Cleburne County annual report. I've not met everyone yet, but I'm Stephen Fong, the new County Extension Coordinator. And these are some of our highlights in our annual report here for the year. And I've only been on board as far as here in Cleburne County since January, but I've been a long time Extension employee, and I'm happy to be here, by the way. So if you don't mind, if you could just review over that. And then I've also included on its front and back page, if you will. And then I also included a budget, both front and back there. And if you'll note, on our budget is highlighted. There's some areas we went over budget already, and we're anticipating increased budgetary costs as well. And so I'm here to request on behalf of Alderman Extension to increase our appropriations to 75 cents per person, if that's possible. And I'm happy to entertain any questions that you may have. I can provide a further more detailed budget and itemized if you so please with that.
Anybody have any questions? I'm gonna interject. I know that we're gonna be having budget meetings, and they may ask you, would that be possible for you to come back to a budget meeting?
Yes, I'm happy to.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are you all good with that as a commission? All right. And we'll take that, and I think, Lisa, you have a copy of that already? His budget request?
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Okay.
So, I thought it might be a good idea for him to go ahead and be on the agenda tonight, just so he'd make a request before we get too far into the budget building process.
Anybody have any questions or anything you'd like to ask regarding extension or since you've been on board? We do have a new employee, which we're real pleased to have, is Dr. Corey Courtright. He is a new aquatic specialist, and he'll be housed here in Cleburne County, so he's at the all around. It looks good to have him, only one of 3 in the state, and so he's housed in the Cleburne County office. So if anybody doesn't have any more questions, then I'll yield my time.
And I would like to say thank you. If any of the commissioner ever gets opportunity, they need to go by and visit the extension office. It's really interesting.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And we'll try to keep you abreast of when our budget meetings are.
All right, thank you.
Next, I have Mr. Rick Bishop with County Road 482, the road and bridge.
That was close, Bischoff.
I'm trying.
I'm here to speak tonight. My wife and I moved here 2.5 years ago. Before that, Ryan was asked me where we lived. We kind of lived in an RV, we lived in a sailboat, we traveled half the world. Florida, Omaha, Nebraska. But we love it here. We want a rural setting, quiet, friendly people, and we have that here. I haven't never lived on a dirt road, and I've reached out to point out problems with the road, and sometimes I get responses, oftentimes I don't. So my concern is not so much about repairs getting done, it's like there's no communication. I can email Mr. Estes, and I might get an email back. Most of the time, I do not. And I understand budgets are tight to get things fixed. I understand that, but it doesn't cost anything to communicate. And when you don't communicate and you leave people in the dark, what do people think? I come from a customer service background. If my customers left me an email or a voicemail or communicated somehow and I didn't respond, I'd have angry customers and I wouldn't have a customer at all. So we're your customers. I'm a constituent, we're taxpayers, we live in the county, we expect an answer, and we don't want to be deemed, as we were told, that we're complainers, so it doesn't deserve a reply. So I just want to know, and I've been told there's a schedule to have things done. We can't find a schedule. I haven't been told there's a schedule. So when we ask a request, we're not trying to complain. We're pointing out defects on our road, the bridge, and whatnot, and we're just looking for some answers back. We may not like the answer, but at least we have an answer. So just simple communication could go a long way to, and I'm not the only one on my street that thinks this way. We've heard a lot of stories from our neighbors, and there's only 6 or 7 of us that talk, but most of them just don't even bother anymore. I've got one neighbor who just scraped part of the road because it was so bad he did it with his own tractor. I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not, but that's what had to be done to get the road to a point where it doesn't damage our vehicles.
The motor grader is in my district, which is where you live, to the bridge.
Well, we live on the other side of the bridge going up the hill. I'm not sure which direction is that, Sherry? East.
That's my side.
Yeah, we're east
to the bridge.
We're east of the bridge.
The motor grader scrapes every year, every dirt road.
We haven't seen that this year. Last year it got so bad, the Postal Service wouldn't deliver
They start,
to our street for a month.
correct me if I'm wrong, they start in the north and the south end and they work their way to the middle.
Okay.
So, as far as giving you a date when it's gonna be scraped, you can't do it. Because of rain or whatever, the schedule gets behind. And if we called every house and gave them an update, then we would have to hire another employee that we can't afford.
And I will say this right quick too. I ain't talked to him this afternoon, but if he didn't turn on the end of it this evening, he's within, we're right there on top of it.
Okay.
Because the motor grader is in my district.
All right. But we don't know this because there's no communication coming back.
Well, I'll tell you right now, every year your grader, your road will get motor graded.
All right. But it changes condition based on weather, right? So if we don't point out, nobody, I'm sure no one here, or Lee, you're not driving every inch of this county road.
Pretty much so I am.
Well,
More, with nearly probably monthly.
okay, so you should be able to tell us, give us an answer back. As I said, we may not like the answer, but just communicate back. That's all we ask.
I mean, if the ditch stops up and it washes the road away, we'll come out and repair it. But as far as just everyday potholes and stuff like that, we scrape it once a year.
No, I understand that. On our bridge deck, you're driving and you see the holes. The steel is exposed.
Yep.
That bridge isn't gonna last long.
Those, like the decking that you're seeing, is correct. The decking is the structural aspect of that deck.
Correct.
And once again, once we get a crew turned loose, we can go by and get this patch done. That's what we do. We do bridge work in the fall.
Okay. But that wasn't your response when I asked. I asked in March, if there's a problem with the bridge, you said there's a work order and we'll get to it, we'll get to it. All you had to say was, that's what we do in the fall. But you didn't say that.
We get to it when we get to it. That's what, we work our way toward, and I can't give you a thing.
You just said you do it in the fall. You could have told me that, but you didn't.
But if I would have had a patch crew get over there close, then we could have dropped in there and done it some other. So there's not a date to this one.
We have a bridge inspector that inspects every year.
Oh, we've seen him on
Yeah,
bridges, yeah.
and inspects every year, so it gets inspected twice a year.
Right, no, we've seen him out there.
If there's safety aspects with the road or the bridge, if it's something that's safety or structural, we handle it at that point. But if it's just general maintenance, which that is considered general maintenance, then we kind of stick to that.
Right, okay, but it just comes out of communication, You can say, hey, got your email, we're working on it. Or, we do that in the fall. That's all we ask. Leaving people in the dark, that's never a good thing for anybody. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bischoff.
Thanks.
The C is silent, right?
Yeah,
In a sense.
kinda, yeah. Okay.
Sheriff's not here. Do you have anything, Ms. Wolf? You ready?
If y'all have any questions for me, you just, when you get to that part, you can ask me whatever you need.
I don't think we have any other official board members to speak. Bid openings, none. Awards and presentations, scheduled public hearings, consent agenda. We want to move, which one is it, down to E? Concerning the vacancies. Number 2 to E. Otherwise, looking at the consent agenda with the exception of 2, looks like everything was initialed with 3 signatures, right?
I'll make a motion to accept them.
I second it.
Any discussion? All in favor saying aye. Motion carries. Looking at new business, there's a couple of things I want to consider adding. One is a resolution adding, passing the county budget so that we might continue this meeting. Is that right?
We want to continue
To discuss budget.
to discuss.
But we don't have anything on the budget, on the resolution, so I'd like to add a resolution on the budget.
I'll make a motion to add.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, saying aye. So D will be budget. No, come on. I know my alphabet. I hear you laughing, Ms. Ford. F will be budget. Please forgive me. G's next, right? G, we need to add the Department of Youth Services contract so that we can. Have y'all had a chance to see that? Has anything changed? The same as last year? I'll let you remember. And then he just brought it to me. last Thursday or Friday.
This is just the contract itself, it's not actually, got amounts or anything like that on it, what we appropriate, is what we, that doesn't change. It doesn't have any cost for anything on it.
Can I see that?
Yes.
And I guess, I don't know if there's a time on that, but possibly it's in next month.
It is for the next year's budget, so I didn't see a deadline on it that said that it had to be done at this meeting.
Y'all want to wait, just put that on next meeting?
We've got a work session next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just wait.
Okay,
But then there,
I think that'd be fine.
scan it and email it to us, and then we got the question when you call.
Was there anything else we needed to add? Anything?
I can't, just when you send it out, when you send me a copy.
So we'll just go to, F, we'll not have G.
It had a couple things to keep bringing anything up to you guys about students in this, IEC or the LTCF money.
You said you had $80,000 for the road, and I don't know the specific, but we feel something.
We'll just wait till Monday. Okay, I just want to make sure that anything is left off.
Probate office needs a new air conditioner, but it's under the $10,000, so he says he had it, so we need to. All right, looking at A here, whereas the Revenue Commissioner is requesting the establishment of an expense account for her position, whereas this would require a legislative act to be passed, whereas an example of legislation from another county has been provided, and the Revenue Commissioner would like to use the same term. Whereas the example given states that the expense account will be for an amount equal to the difference in the salary of the Revenue Commissioner and the salary of the Judge of Probate, and payable in equal monthly installment from the general fund. Whereas beginning the next term of office after the effective date of the act, the salary of the Revenue Commission would equal the salary of the probate judge, and therefore would be entitled to the uniform increases in the compensation received by other elected officials. Therefore, the Cleburne County Commission agrees to support the Revenue Commissioner and attempt to establish the expense allowance.
I make a motion.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? Yes, sir. Just get that.
Well, I'm not saying that the Revenue Commissioner's efforts should not receive the support of the Commission as a whole. I'm concerned that acting only with regard to one position is a disservice to all elected officials in the county. I make the motion that we table the resolution until such time we can do a full audit and perform the salary history of each and every elected official in the county.
We have a motion to table. Do we have a second?
Second.
We do have a second. All right, any discussion on the table? All in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So we will table this till next month. New business, item B, whereas Spectrum Southeast LLC, an indirect subsidiary of Charter Communications, is requesting a franchise agreement with the Cleburne County Commission, whereas Charter will be building a fiber broadband project that will connect to 277 households and businesses in and around Rainbow, whereas Charter will need to use the county right-of-way for the project, whereas Spectrum Southeast LLC Charter Communication agrees to pay an amount equal to 5% of the gross revenues for the accounts in the county at large, whereas 5% of the gross revenues will be paid for each of the next 20 years. Therefore, the Cleburne County Commission resolves to accept the agreement and allow its chairman to sign the agreement on behalf of Cleburne County. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I will state that I have reviewed the franchise agreement. It does appear to be a standard and normal franchise agreement. I did not see any surprises or anything to be concerned with.
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, I went here for work session, because I had COVID. This 277 households is 99% in the city limits. There's only a handful of houses in the county. And how much of our right of way, and we're on the right of way, or they're on the buildings?
So there's a policy that we have that says back 5 foot of the right of way. So as long as they stay on the back 5 foot, is where they're supposed to be.
Okay, then my other question is, so after 20 years, the 5% goes away?
Correct.
We do have a representative from the Charter Building that's in the agreement over here if you have questions for him as well.
You got a map?
I can get you a map. It's mostly, as you mentioned, it's mostly, by the way, I'm Little Edwards Government Affairs for Charter. Happy to answer questions. So it is mostly in Ranburg. It does go to the outskirts of Ranburg. But this is a build out, the way we kind of got here is this is a build out of a state grant award. So we submitted awards across the state and particularly in Ranburg County, and were awarded this grant area from the state. So that is the impetus of the reason we need to be here. You know, once we get a plant here, this franchise agreement would allow us to build throughout the right of way. But you know, this is kind of the starting point, if you will. Those 277 roundabout homes. We usually find more homes as we actually get crews out here and start building.
So this agreement is for the whole county?
It would great, yes, sir. I mean, this is the right-of-way agreement with the county, with Cleburne County. But we'd still be permitted, we permit on poles, we get permitted with the engineering department and whatnot, you know, to expand the projects and whatnot. We still have to get permits. This doesn't grant us carte blanche, do whatever you want. This is just a right-of-way agreement with the county. And you mentioned the 20 years. So this would, 20 years, myself or a guy doing my job would come back and negotiate a franchise renewal. That is the general kind of how it works. So it wouldn't, it's not a 20 years and you cut it off kind of deal. That's not at all what that would imply.
But there is an out for us in 20 years?
Sure, you can not renew, there's actually outs within the contract if, you know, from y'all's side of things, if you.
It was 90 days, I believe.
I think it's 90 days, and then technically it's for both sides. I'll tell you, I've never seen that happen. But there is in the contract the ability to.
I apologize, I wasn't here for the
Oh, you're
work
good,
session.
no problem.
Well, I did have a few questions. Does this work off internet, or does this work off towers, or how does this work?
So it is a wireline network. It works with, this is going to be fiber optic cable. And there's 4 products that we offer. Internet being kind of the most popular product. Internet, cable television, mobile telephone, and then your classic telephone line. So that would be this. They all would run through that fiber optic cable. That, and most of the time, it's based on a telephone pole. We'll go underground. We usually follow the power or follow the permitting process. So most of the time, I would say. Got the franchise with Ranburn and was there, and it's, you know, it's going to be mostly on telephone poles.
So you're getting government money to do this?
That is partly government money, partly charter money. Yes, sir. It's about a $1.3 million project in total.
Okay, are you going to go down these dead-end dirt roads that's got 3 houses in them?
If they're in the project area, then we are obligated to serve them.
Okay.
So those are the homes that we count. So the way that, not to bore you with it, but the way that they created these projects is the state had a map that mapped every unserved home. Map's not perfect, none of these maps are perfect, but it mapped every unserved home and had a dot on each one of them. And we put together a project that circled as many dots as we could find in one area, and that's how we ended up with this project in Ranburn and kind of the southeast part.
I know, like, the more concentrated, the more money y'all make because you don't have to run cable everywhere.
Sure, and that's the reason for the subsidy is that
I mean,
you got.
I've been to a couple of meetings on the fiber and stuff, which before they was taken away from the commission. And I'm just concerned that you're not gonna get the houses, it's only one or two that it's not profitable for you, but we need it for our citizens, you know?
Understood, and I'll tell you, that's the reason for the subsidy, is that you're right, that there's not necessarily, if it's just private money, and it's you know, money that is an investment at the end of the day, there's not a return on that investment if you're building one house in a 10-mile stretch. Now, that's where the government subsidy comes in, and so this is part of the ARPA plan. This money that we won this state grant on is part of the ARPA money. Now, there's something called BEAD that's coming down, which is more federal money. It's $1.4 billion in federal money. So it's significantly more money than was even allocated with this program we participated in. So that's where, and you know, we're talking well past this franchise now, but that's where the $1.4 billion is going to serve those very difficult to access homes.
Well, in your opinion, at some point, we're gonna get every house in Cleburne County, and can you give us an estimated time?
I can tell you that's the goal. That's the goal of the federal government, it's the goal of the state government, it's the goal of ISPs, including Charter Spectrum. You know, standing here today, I can't give you a time frame on when that's gonna happen. There's, you know, y'all know exactly how it works. When you're dealing with federal and state money, there's all sorts of hoops to jump through and all sorts of ways you have to do it, and most of those things take time. So I can't stand here today and confidently give you a timeline, but we're not talking decades, we're talking, you know, years.
Ranburn's already signed off on this, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm good, thank you.
All right, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
So are we ready to vote?
Good.
All in favor saying aye? Motion carries. Whereas,
Hey, before you do this one, can Lee fill in the blanks?
yes,
Y'all have that right there.
Oh, okay.
So that would be your blanks.
You gotta make it simple, you gotta make it simple.
I don't have it, y'all have it.
Yeah.
Got extra copies.
So those are the
I'll
blanks.
tell you, I'll let you just read the resolution. That way you'll fill it in right away.
So I need to read each one of those projects.
Yeah.
Okay. So whereas the Rebuild Alabama Act requires that an annual transportation plan be adopted for the next fiscal year by the county commission no later than August 31st, and whereas the county engineer has provided a list of possible projects with his recommendations for which expenditures are intended to be made in the next fiscal year, therefore the Cleburne County Commission approves the following projects to be included in the county transportation plan. Project number 1 is a bridge replacement on County Road 65. Project number 2 is spot leveling and patching on County Road 49. Project number 3 is for the purchase of materials. County forces will be applying on County Road 471 for a JG treatment. Project number 4 is County Road 455, materials only for a JG treatment. Project number 5 is County Road 863, materials for a JG treatment. Project number 6 is County Road 60, spot level, widen, JG treatment, and traffic stripe. And project number 7 is County Road 8, spot level, widen, JG treatment, traffic stripe.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
So,
Any discussion?
That's only 925,000, don't we have like 1.1, so
We do, but once we bid these out too,
they're gonna go in.
have a little extra in there.
Okay.
Let me ask you, like, now, the money was, what about $20?
As close as I can get it, yes, ma'am. And still have complete projects is what I was looking for.
I suggest next year that you put districts, make a column for the district.
Make a district column.
Yeah.
So it does go to District 1 through 4, but
Y'all ready to vote? You ready, Ms. Cobb, to vote?
Yes.
Okay, just to make sure you're sitting, just want to be respectful. All in favor say aye. Motion carries. New business, item D, whereas Cleburne County Commission must from time to time seek bids for certain supplies and equipment in order to ensure efficient and effective operation of county initiatives while ensuring all state purchasing laws are abided by. Therefore, the Cleburne County Commission authorized the county engineer to award bids for the following annual maintenance supplies. So you got those?
We got those two. So what I'm going to be recommending are the low bids or combination of low bids. So for the hot asphalt plant mix, that's going to be APAC Alabama Incorporated. Traffic stripe and markers would be Ozark Striping Company Incorporated. Stone will be a double award between Vulcan Material Asphalt and Construction, LLC, and APAC Alabama Incorporated.
Can we do that?
In-place plant mix will be a double award with Vulcan Material Asphalt and Construction and APAC Alabama Incorporated. Bituminous treatment resurfacing, it's Charles E. Watts Incorporated. Coal mix will be it's not a double award, there's two types of coal mix. So coal plant mix 411A will be awarded to Advanced Asphalt Products, LLC. And then the other item is a polymer modified coal mix. It will be awarded to Vulcan Materials Company. Microsurfacing, awarded to Asphalt Paving Systems Incorporated. And then the last one, that's not the last one. Traffic signs is Traffic Signs Incorporated. And then I need to add an item to this thing for fleet repair, and that is Buster Miles Ford.
Vegetation maintenance. Don't have that.
Vehicle maintenance, which you can't do in-house.
I'll entertain,
Those are the vegetation, that's all.
I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
So, when are you gonna have something on the vegetation?
I would hope to have something within the next couple of months. We're working on the base right now.
Ready to vote? All in favor saying aye. Motion carries. Moving down to E, board vacancies. I'm looking for entertaining a resolution to appoint a new board member on the hospital board and a new board member on library board. And is it okay to combine those? You're trying to, you want to appoint who, Mr. Hill? To the hospital board?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Paul Moore,
Paul Moore.
he assured me he lives in the county,
He does.
and that means a lot.
He wore me out in pickleball the other night. Mad about it. I don't want him on board.
It'll be at the hospital when you get.
Yeah. He and his wife pickled us. They're taller than us.
Excuses.
And your board pick is,
Claire Gannon.
how do you spell her last name?
G-A-N. Is that right, Tracy? Claire's.
Claire Gannon, I think it's G-A-N-N-O-N, I think.
I think we can figure out. filling out. Yeah, those two.
Oh, is it Gamble? You talking about Claire Drive?
Yeah.
Gamble.
Is it
G-A-M-B-L.
Gamble or Gamble?
Gamble. Yeah.
All right, so, I'll entertain a motion to appoint these two. Paul Moore,
I'll make a motion.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor saying aye. Motion carries. Looking at the budget, I'd like to add that, and we've already added it. We may not be ready to do anything with the budget, but I think you're considering continuing the meeting to deal with budget tomorrow. So at the end of the meeting, we can deal with that. Anybody, unless anybody wants to make a motion. Is that good?
Just do it again, continue the meeting.
Okay. But it's on the agenda, so that can be done. Reports from staff. County administrator. Guys,
Sorry. Did you say you continue the meeting tomorrow? What time?
I think there was a tentative meeting about 4 tomorrow.
I didn't
I
catch
thought it
that.
was gonna be tonight.
Oh, you can do it tonight? Work on the budget tonight?
We still got to continue to,
Yeah.
all right, so.
Okay,
Tomorrow's fine. That's good.
4 o'clock.
4.
Okay, that's fine. I just was trying to get my ducks in a row. I didn't realize that we were talking about tomorrow. Okay. If you have any questions or anything that I need to prepare for tomorrow for the budget meeting, I'll be glad to take any questions that you have. I think I've answered some questions already, but I'm willing to take more at any time. If you want to email me, you want to just talk to me, that's fine. Also, I was asked to kind of give an update on our ARPA expenditures and our obligations. After, let's say this, the IAC puts all of our expenditures into the Procore system to get that percentage, and that gets done once a year for our annual report. After putting everything in that has happened since our last annual report, we're at about 97% on our expenditures for our ARPA fund. So we're actually in very good shape as far as that goes, as far as our deadlines are concerned. The only thing else that we really need to concentrate on is that out of the 4 districts, 2 have obligated funds for their LOTCF, the state ARPA money for those projects. And of course, I know Kelly Gilligan spoke to some of you. Those projects actually have to be done for them to be considered fully obligated under the maintenance bid.
It has to be lit.
Yes. So, that needs to be done sooner rather than later. I think there is a little bit more leeway with LATCF, but that's not really official yet. It's kind of just what's coming down is that people they're considering giving counties a little bit more time on that because the LATCF came down later than the original ARPA money came down. So that's where we are on that, and
Mr. Hicks had a question.
Can you give us an update on that for Tuesday's work session?
on the ARPA and LATCF.
Yeah, I mean-
Yes.
I mean, I think I've spent all mine, but
Like any of the funds that's left over,
Yes.
it can be moved to those projects that you have. You're just gonna have to change the amount of those projects.
You talking about gas tax projects?
no, those won't be less for the end of the year, will they?
Those will all be next year projects, so there's no way they'll be let it down.
I mean, if you can come up with us a figure of what that 2% is,
Right. It's,
we can spend it, ain't a problem.
it's about 3%, but that's, I will update you on it. I think it's already obligated right now, but there's actually money that's going to be spent. I do know that some things have come up with not being quite as much as we thought they were going to be to start with, so there's a little bit of leeway there that's going to be your 2 or 3% split, but I will give you exact dollars when I
What about from, the water board?
The water board has a little bit left of theirs, but, where they're standing right now is, retainage that they still owe the original contractor on their projects is, a good chunk of it, and they've got a little bit, 12 to 15,000 left of the 700. And they are still working on the issue that they had in their area where they're trying to get some meters down the road, that road that he talked about last time he was there. And, I actually spoke to him about that today, and he said he's gonna get back on it. 'Cause, you know, people are real quick to say, yes, I want water, I'll be glad to pay some to help get that water line down the road, but then they are, they're quick to come up with the money, so.
Do we need, this is a question for Jason, do we need to send a letter to the water board because of they, for some reason, they don't get this money spent by the 31st and they're gonna lose it? We're not gonna,
If you want to remain, you certainly can.
By the end of December.
Right, if you get obligated by then.
it's gotta be led, which that means the bid's already gotta be completed and the contractor awarded.
I expressed that today when I spoke with them, and they are back on it. They just kind of circled back around to it, it's kind of,
Because I know they've had several call-ins for water lines, so.
they've had a lot lately, it's been bad.
But I still like a letter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at the end of the year, when it's, they have spent $50,000, and we say, okay, we want that money back,
Right.
you know, because we're not gonna take it out of general.
It's not
fund.
50, it's more like 12 or 15,000, but, yeah, you still don't want to give it back. I mean, certainly there's something, materials or something that you can
Can you
use.
just put us a letter together, write a letterhead on it, and shoot it to Roger and to mine?
He should be able to do that on that one little project that he's got.
Oh, yeah. If he can just get it all lined up, and he can get right back on that.
He's got pressure problems that he's on one of those.
Well, the thing I sent back may have been a little bit deceiving because of what I saw, what they gave me at that meeting Thursday, and I think I didn't realize that all that had been allotted.
We spoke to Kelly down there at the conference, and she made us aware that pie chart
Was not
probably
correct.
wasn't correct, yeah, but she still felt that we had some money laying out there that wasn't, you know, appropriated or.
And part of it was that we weren't under the belief that those jobs had to be led.
Right.
You know, have to make sure they're led.
Well, I didn't even cause a scare when I said that. I just wanted everybody to be aware that there was
But
possibly
it was
money out there.
good, because like I said, we got to talk to her too, and we had to make sure these jobs was led.
I was under the impression that as long as we passed the resolution, we was good. She said no.
Okay. Go ahead.
And, that's all I have, is just, of course, budget items and
All right.
dollar expenditures.
Tomorrow, if we do continue the meeting and discuss budget, is there any department that you'd like to make sure that come to attend? Any specific, or y'all just want to go over the budget to start with?
Or don't start, we need to start this.
Right
Bring in
through
the
it.
department head, and go down the line.
And start having the department heads come in and talk to us.
All right.
But I know there's a tentative schedule out there for them to be on September the 3rd, which is our work session date. You know, that's what's been sent out to the department heads as far as our tentative schedule. So if you want me to get anyone in for tomorrow, I can try to do that. But, I know that probably planning on being here on the 3rd for the meeting.
I think I can make it since I'm chair. You be here?
Yeah.
Probably think, the question would be John, probably, but that, we'll see.
I've got a first June varsity football game all night, so I'm not gonna be here.
So we
We'll just mark your budget off.
Yeah, you need it. Explain that to me right off the bat. Explain that to me, okay? Take it.
What is it?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Last month, we talked about the employee handbook. Where are we at on that?
Still being reviewed.
Okay. The Ranburne inmate deal, signed, sealed, delivered, we done with that. We still on track for our 22 audit in September.
I think we're Tracy and I are very, very close. We're within just a few days of being totally for Melissa to come in. So, yes, depending on her schedule now, it's looking good right now.
Business license, what do we ever decide about business license?
It's a very complicated issue because if you ever saw the book, it's not across the board even. It can change and vary from if a store sells dice or sells cards, playing cards, or sodas. It is very sporadic. So there's not a set, and we asked the state, there's no way to set it now as far as if you wanted to add, do a
percentage.
Well, if you wanted to add a fee, you'd have to go through the legislature to add a fee. Like that.
Write that down on your book for a work session next week, because if we're gonna go to the legislature, it needs to be down there by Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Your typical business license now on 25.
Typical?
The typical, just your basic business.
It's across the board. I mean, there's so many different. But you know, like a store license, you've been in a store license, and it's all, you know, through the years, it's been added things.
You have to check all.
If you sell playing cards.
Vendor machines.
Yeah.
Consider, you pay a license, you pay for that, you pay for that. If you have a Coke machine, that's considered a vendor machine.
And any kind of service is not, like, if you have a service, you don't have to have a business license, but a lot of people who do have a service business will come in and get just a $2 license so they'll have a license, a business license. And that's the cheapest one you can buy, is a $2 license. But you could add a fee to that.
Let me ask a dumb question. These food trucks we got around the county, are they buying a license? Are they reporting taxes?
I don't,
They have to.
I can't remember seeing one come in, but I,
Yeah.
They
The
render
food
them
truck-
a lot.
Yeah.
The food trucks has to have a health department. They have to be health department inspected. They have to have a commissary. They've got to have a place that they work out of that's inspected by the health department.
so it depends on which county they come out of, probably where they have a business license. If they come out of Calhoun,
But they still have to buy one.
for the city,
Yeah. and
Not necessarily for the
They have
county.
to they have to also get a permit when they come into Cleveland County too,
from who?
from the health department.
For the sales transaction, like when you hand them a hamburger, that's the transaction. And you gotta have a license in there.
They have to get, to come in and serve food in Cleveland County, they have to get a health department, license from Cleveland County also.
But they don't have to get another business license.
Yes, they do.
Well,
The
yeah. they do.
Cousins Maine Lobster ran into that problem a year and a half ago. They set up on Highway 78 in Oxford. They got an Oxford business license, but they failed to get a Calhoun County business license. And the sheriff shot them down and they had to leave that day.
But
Until
my-
they came back.
But if you got a county state license in Calhoun County, then you come over here,
You need to get one from Cleveland.
You gotta get one. The regular,
but
we had food trucks working out of my restaurant, and they had to come in and inspect my restaurant, plus they had to get Cleveland County Health Department, they were coming out of Calhoun.
I can understand the health department, but I mean, you have contractors who go from county to county, but they have a center.
They're supposed to have a license wherever they conduct work.
Well, if they work for the city, but the same for every county, that would be very expensive. If you had to buy one for every county you worked in.
But you're supposed to, when you operate in that county, you're supposed to have a business license in that county.
So our problem is when people come in and work,
You don't know.
you don't know, right? They're here for a few hours and gone, right?
But you're supposed to ask for their business license. You're supposed to ask for it.
So that would fall on but there's no way, it'd be almost impossible to check that, would it?
Unless you just happen to up on
Yeah,
It's a hit and miss thing, but
okay. Well, I'm wrong about that. I thought once you had a county license, that was your home base, your county state, then,
It's where the transaction happens. Like if I sell her this bottle of water right here, it's in Cleburne County. If we go to Calhoun County and I sell it to her, even though my business is in Cleburne County, I have to have a license in Calhoun.
and the taxes have to be paid in Cleburne. And on the raw goods, if they received it in Calhoun, will be paid in Calhoun, but not the finished good.
but there is a difference versus state and county though there. You already have a state license, right?
Yeah, but your county, you know,
County
if you're
sales
selling
tax.
that good in Cleveland County, you gotta pay it in Cleveland County.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when I was in business before I retired, if I delivered parts in Calhoun County, I would only deliver it to a tax exempt person. That way I'd have to food with it, you know. Or I would just deliver it to Oxford Napa store and let them sell it, you know.
So that's,
See, even insurance companies, they have to pay, if they have customers anywhere in the state or the county, they're selling their insurance product to these people, they have to have a business license for those areas.
and I guess that's where our officers are gonna have to start hitting some of these food trucks that comes in to make sure, I know the health department will do it too.
I'm sorry I brought this up. I was just in a regular process.
I'm just wondering, Progressive, you mentioned insurance, you know, Progressive did they buy a license, a state license from us? I'm not aware, I have to check, too.
From what I understand, I just remember from city level, my experience was that you do get a business license for them. It is, ours was always a very small amount. I think it's very divided up for insurance companies. I think they have some kind of rules for them where it's sort of, almost like it's prorated out. A really small amount.
Well, I understand paying for the taxes and where it's delivered. Like if you deliver a car, you would pay an outside tax, but I just didn't know you have to have a business license in each county.
Coming into that county and conducting business in that county.
And possibly in the city too, and if there are like food truck works in that coalition, the city and county.
All right.
You just changed your plans, you're not gonna do a food truck now, are you?
No, I wouldn't go through a food truck. Too much work in that.
I'm just kidding.
I was just thinking, thinking about that because it's so easy for people to slip in. Any other questions for Lisa?
We're gonna task Lisa to bring in a company to audit these, jobs.
That's something we'll talk about next week in the work session. I mean, it's not something you have in mind, right? I don't have it.
Because we're gonna have to be on top of it,
Audit what?
to be able to come in and evaluate, all of the elected officials' jobs, where we can get a clear path.
Oh, okay. County engineer?
So just a quick update, we should finish up our tar and gravel projects this week. Plan on starting push hogs next week. So we should get all that. Hopefully get all that done quick.
Any questions?
You're on 63 with sign on.
Yes. Right now he's down toward, making that run down toward 46 and we'll turn around and come back up and reach out to.
I mean, I can talk to you about this tomorrow morning, but I was doing now. Over on 63 at Hanson's Farm, there is a dead oak tree that probably reached from me to you at the butt. You need to go see if that thing is on the right of way, and if it's not on the right of way, we need to send a letter to the property owner that we don't want that thing laying in our road. Like that.
They're heading to Hanson Farm.
Yeah. That thing is deep. I mean, I don't know why. It was perfectly fine 2 or 3 months ago, now it's, but it's gonna be close to where it's on the right of way.
Well, we also make a note that up at Jim Next on 65, if it's, the pipes are all stopped up in that area, and it's washing out. And Scott,
So the one you sent me the text on last week?
that's a different one. I just found this one together. It's right there at Jim Next.
Last week. Stop there, we just sent me the
Last
Washington's
week
driveway.
was,
Yes, he had the Washington's driveway, we wouldn't stop there, we just, we're back at the end of the road, we would just drive there, all it is.
Jimmy's a top man, he knows what he's talking about, so you better check it out.
Any other questions for Lee? Mr. Odom? Any questions, Mr. Odom? All right, no old business, discussion items.
I kind of discussed it all night.
All right. So we're looking to, I'll entertain a motion, I think, to continue the meeting till 4 tomorrow. Is that right?
I make a motion that we continue the meeting till 4 p.m. tomorrow
To discuss budget.
to discuss the budget.
Second.
Any other discussion concerning that? All in favor saying aye? Okay. We're ready to go till tomorrow, we'll see you at 4.
So,
We made it an hour.